I bought a Malmsteen Strat. What have I done? Hi there, Perfecto Castro here, and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Okay, so this is my latest acquisition. It is a circa 98 or 99 Yngwie J. Malmsteen Fender Stratocaster, made in the USA. I believe if this was a 98, this would be the first run of these. And I think this is part of the second series. So those of you who watch my channel have already seen this cameo in my Gator Icon 25 video where I left LA with a KZ Guitar Works TL Trad 22 and I came back to LA with this thing. I saw this at the Osaka Sound Mess 2025, and for the price I got it for, I couldn't pass it up. And I've also wanted one of these for a while now, so stars aligned, and here we are. So since this is circa 98-99, this still has the DiMarzio pickup set. We all know that Yngwie has since moved to Seymour Duncan, so this might be a good shootout project later on, DiMarzio versus Seymour's. And from what I gather, this is pretty much stock and in pretty good condition considering its age. There aren't really any major dings or doinks, a few scratches here and there, but nothing that warrants, a full restoration. And the frets are still nice and clean, no divots anywhere. Can benefit from a bit of polishing, which I will do today. Of course, it won't be an Yngwie Strat without the brass nut right here and the scalloped fretboard. And this guitar is actually pretty well set up. I got it from Ishibashi Music. Mizuno-san, hello. Okay. So tremolo has a decent amount of float, the way I like it. Even flutters. Now these strings feel like 10s and they play pretty well. However, I am going to go full Yngwie and install his signature set 8 to 46 and even tune down to E flat just so that I get the full experience. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Now, I hope I don't lose this whammy bar action, but I will do my best to keep it fluttering and stable the way it is right now. And then once I'm all done, I'm going to go back into the studio, plug it in, and jam with it, and share my thoughts. By the way, this video is not sponsored by anybody. I bought these strings off of Sweetwater, and I bought this guitar with my own money. So everything that I will use in this video, from the Music NOMAD tool set to the strings to whatever else is of interest, will have affiliate links in the video description. So buying from these links are of no extra cost to you, and the small commission that I get helps me keep making these videos for everybody to enjoy. So thank you so much for your extra support. Oh, Junbi! Hold on. Let me see what he's up to. Okay. Say hi. What? You just want this, huh? Okay, quick progress report. I have polished the frets with the Music NOMAD Frine fret polish. Where was that? Oh, here it is. The Frine. So it's nice and shiny. And then I use the Music NOMAD 1 guitar polish just to clean things up. It's a bunch of dust underneath the pick guard, pick dust from all that shredding. Then I tried to catch it on camera, but at certain angles, there are some dimples in the finish. And I can actually feel these dimples, or almost like blisters, as I run my finger against the body. It's a 1998 guitar. What do you expect? But from afar, It looks nice and smooth and clean and fresh. Now, before I install the strings, I'm gonna go through all the screws and tighten things up. The strap button in the upper horn is actually pretty loose. I noticed this when I took out the strap earlier. So I will take care of that. It might need some glue, it might not, but I will find out soon enough. Okay. Yep, more work. Okay, thankfully I didn't need to glue the upper strap button. It's nice and tight as it is. Okay, now let's check out these Fender Yngwie Malmsteen signature strings. So a lot of people are wary of the 8 gauge, but if you look at the string gauges, it looks like a mix of 10 to 46, 9 to 42, and a single 008 for the first string. So the first string is from a 08 set. 11 and 14 would come from the a 9 set, right? 9 gauge set. 22 to 32, that's from a 9 gauge set as well. And then a 46 is from a 10 to 46 set. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried these strings before or these gauges, but we will find out. Now, I think I'm also going to follow the Yngwie Malmsteen string action, and there's a bunch of mystery around it. Yngwie himself says that his first string is 7 to 8 millimeters off the fretboard, and the low E string is a little higher. And the debate is whether he measures from the bottom of the scallop or from the top of the fret. I guess measuring from the bottom of the scallop is more feasible, I guess. Now, before taking the strings off, I actually measured the action, and it measured around 4.5 millimeters from the bottom of the scallop to the bottom of the 6th string. And that was a very comfortable action. So I think I'm going to measure from the bottom of the scallop instead of the top of the fret. And with the lighter strings, let's see how that feels. Oh, look, bullet ends. Huh. Okay. Okay, let's see how this works out. Oh, Fender. So the package says 3rd and 6th. This doesn't look like a 3rd string to me. Let me check the other packs. Hold on. Okay, that looks correct. 1st and 4th. What? Okay, 2nd and 5th. Oh no. Somebody mispacked this. Okay. I'm gonna have to write Sweetwater. Good thing I got a 3-pack. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, here's the 2nd set. Fingers crossed everything's packed as they should. Okay, this is the way it should be. Not this. Oh well. Mistakes happen. I just need to send for a replacement. Okay, here we go. Wow, this 8 gauge feels super thin. I have to be very careful when I stretch it. Okay, so this is how I install strings. Now, since this is a vintage style split post tuner, I am going to cut it to a specific length. That way there isn't too many winds on the tuner post. However, you still have to put in enough wind so you have a good string angle after the nut. So usually what I do is I measure like 2 tuner posts, right? And cut it there. So that's about maybe an inch or a little over an inch past the tuner post that you are installing it in. And then stick it in, like you Rin Tin Tin and Anne Boleyn. Okay, so 46 just about fits. Okay, make sure you hit the bottom. Okay, and then kink it to the side. Make sure you pull. And then I also like doing a string lock since I use the whammy bar a lot. So I pass one wind over and all the rest under. There you go. That's not gonna slip. Okay, 008. I hope you don't break. Oh wait, I'm gonna tune it to E flat. Hold on. Oh, this is so loose. I don't know if I could play it. I usually play 10 to 50 on my own custom gauge because I'm a pretty heavy-handed player and I like bending the crap out of strings. But with the scallop fretboard and the skinnier strings and tuned to E flat. Oh, I usually tune to standard, by the way. So yeah, so you can imagine how much string tension I used to dealing with. So this already feels like rubber bands to me. But I will at least try it. See how it works. Okay, so I need to adjust the tremolo arm. So I want this to be at least a whole step bend up. And then I'm going to raise the action, and hopefully I don't need to tweak the truss rod. Okay, more work. Okay, so that was slightly easier than I expected. So all I did was take out the third spring and adjust the trem claw just a little bit, because even with just 2 springs, the string gauge is still on the lighter side, and it wasn't giving me the float that I wanted. So that's a good minor third up on the third string. Wow, this is like really slinky. But it's so easy to play, and it's in E flat. Okay, I am going to raise the string action. We are going to go full send. I'm going to full send Malmsteen it. Okay, so let's see what the relief is. It's actually pretty good. The neck is fairly straight. Okay, I'm going to keep the neck truss rod relief for now. And then, let's see. High action. Let's go high action, which is 1/10 of an inch at the 13th fret. It's not even touching now. Yeah, the action's high as it is. Okay, right now this is 1.5 millimeters first string on the 12th fret. So that's from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. Yeah, a little under 4 millimeters from the bottom of the scallop. So, okay, I'm gonna do it. So right now the saddle is set to a flatter radius than the fretboard. We're gonna have to fix that. It's so high. Oh. Okay, so I don't think an 8 millimeter string height is possible because I'm almost out of grub screw at the saddle. And I just hit 5 millimeters off the bottom of the scallop. And then from the top of the fret, it is around 3 millimeters. So I am going to stop there. Okay, I can't even raise the low E high enough to match the high E string. So 6 millimeters from the bottom of the fret. I'm just gonna make it an even 7. I feel like I'm gonna lose the grub screw. But that looks like the Malmsteen E string already. There you go. Okay, so I'm gonna lower the first string just a little bit. Okay, so the low E string is now at 7 millimeters from the bottom of the scallop, and I think it's roughly the same for the first string. I'm gonna stick to that for the meantime. So I guess somebody already changed the grub screws on this bridge to the shorter types, and I really don't want to go hunting for my extra set of saddle screws over there. So I will just raise this to the highest it will go with these screws, and I'll live with that for a little bit. So the next step is to match the fretboard radius with the other strings. And then we're good to go. I'll probably see you inside the studio and I'll give my final thoughts. Yep. Okay, all done. Let's plug her in. Okay, restring is done. Look at that. Okay, nice and shiny and with fresh string. So I wrestled a little bit with the final setup. As already mentioned, these grub screws, some of them are on the short side, so I couldn't get the ideal Malmsteen high action setup. However, I settled with, I guess, maybe it's around 2.5 millimeters from the top of the 12th fret to the bottom of the first string, and then 3 millimeters or so on the E string. And then I followed the 9.5 fretboard radius to set the other strings. So right now, just to keep things easy for me, I'm playing through Amplitube. I found a Yngwie Malmsteen preset somewhere on tone.net, and you know, that is what you're hearing right now. Sounds great. Although really, really wet. Okay, let me turn off some of the delays. Actually, I'm going to turn off both delays. This preset actually has 2 plate reverbs. I'm going to turn off both plate reverbs. That way we have a nice dry tone. Okay, actually, I have a variable diode boost here too. I'm going to turn off all the boosts. That way you hear just the plexitone. Okay, so at its core, the Yngwie Malmsteen Strat is a very, very nice Strat. Even with these DiMarzio stacked single coils, which are basically humbuckers in a single coil form factor. Okay, that is too dry. Hold on. Let me turn on one of the plate reverbs. There you go. Now, in true vintage fashion, this guitar has a 3-way blade switch as opposed to the typical 5-way blade switch on most Strats. However, based on the stuff that I read about Yngwie's personal guitars, this could very well be just a 2-way switch because he disables the middle pickup. He only goes from bridge to neck. back and forth. That being said, the middle pickup sounds pretty good too. And if you want to get the in-between sounds, you're gonna have to do the Eric Clapton trick, which is basically move the blade switch to that virtual second or fourth position, and you'll get both pickups at the same time. Bet you never expected that out of this guitar. Now, even with the perceived light gauge of the Yngwie signature strings, it's interesting how I can actually really thrash on this guitar, even though it's tuned to E flat. Which is contrary to the typical impression we have on, light gauge strings. Again, this is tuned to E flat. And then the really skinny first string does not sound skinny at all. Now, the biggest advantage, I think, to having an 8-gauge first string is the range. Since this guitar is, true vintage style with only 21 frets, and Yngwie likes to play in E minor, this makes it easy to punctuate that high octave E. I also managed to keep the whammy bar warble. And as long as I don't get too crazy, it stays in tune fairly well. I can even Jeff Beckett. Now, for those of you eagle-eyed may have already noticed that in a couple of those runs, I managed to pull the E strings off the fingerboard. And yeah, if there's one complaint I have about this guitar, it's that both E strings are really close to the edge. Yeah. Now, this is typical of the vintage Strats that I've already played. And I wish Fender didn't, copy that detail onto this guitar. But, it is what it is. Now, apparently the second series run of USA YJM Strats all have this problem. And it might be possible for me to swap out the bridge with one that has the narrow space saddles. However, when you play this guitar approximating Yngwie's approach, this becomes less of an issue. So that means really light touch with your fingers barely moving, and also going for the easiest finger combinations for your scales. Okay, let me show you. For example, this particular scale run. On my typical guitars, the way I've always played it, I use 1, 2, and 4. there. Yeah, so towards that end of the run, I get a little too excited and start, really mashing on the strings. However, if I follow the Yngwie approach, which is use 1, 2, 3, it feels a lot more stable. Of course, my fingers and my hand isn't as big as Yngwie, so I have to figure out how to approach it. Now, this style of playing is still foreign to me, but I have access to the best help possible, so I could dive right in. First up is the Maestro class on TrueFire. So the Maestro class is Yngwie himself breaking down some of his famous licks and songs and playing and demonstrating it with multiple camera angles. That way I can really, fine tune and hone in on the details. Now, as cool as the TrueFire Maestro class course is, Yngwie tends to glaze over the finer details of his playing. So to really get into it, I'm also going to dive into the Viking Shred Guitar Suite by my good friend Chris Brooks of Guitar21.com. This online school gives you all the fine details of the Malmsteen style, from the left-hand shapes to the scales, the music theory, the picking mechanics, and all sorts of fun stuff. So if you want to join me and nerd out on the Malmsteen style, I will put both links in the video description for you to check out. And again, I have to repeat that this video is not sponsored by anybody in particular. These links are just, interesting stuff that I thought I'd share with you guys. And of course, big thanks to Chris for giving me access to his video school and letting me, take in some of that Viking shred. Okay, there you have it. I bought a YJM Fender Stratocaster and I set it up with his signature strings. Yeah. Now, initially, I just thought that this would be a cool guitar to have, and I just wanted to try out the novelty of the 8-gauge strings. However, I think that this YJM Strat will now become my default E-flat guitar. And I'm going to have a lot of fun making it play non-Malmsteen stuff. So watch out for that. Now, if you dug this video, please give it a thumbs up, like, hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and don't forget to ring that bell. And let me know what else you want me to play on this, Viking guitar. It's great. YouTube thinks you're gonna like these next videos, so click on them to watch, then go grab your guitar and play something. Y'all know the drill. Practice makes perfecto. Cheers, guys.